So please don't be writing all of this down. Just get the gist that there's this idea called cloning. Is the cloning presenter in this room right now? One of you signed up for it. Someone signed up for cloning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, are we live? Yes. So get this idea, and then you don't need to write down all of this stuff. But basically, we're in phase 3 of evolution, according to these people that think about this. And phase 1 was random evolutionary steps purely through randomness. Nature dictated. A mutation caused a bear to be born with white fur, and that white-furred bear was not hunted in the Arctic because the predators could not see white bear, but they could see the brown bears. So they hunt brown bears. White bear, camouflaged in with the snow, survives, meets Mrs. Bear, has white bear children. Evolution, but it's totally random. Long-clawed lizard and short-clawed lizard are hanging out on a rock, and Bill and Ted there are like, hey, what's happening? Oh no, look at that wave. Long-clawed lizard climbs up tree. Short-clawed lizard's like, dead. Long-clawed lizard has long-clawed children. Long-clawed lizard evolution. Totally random. No human interaction at all. That's phase 1. That is known as Darwinian evolution, also known as passive evolution. Step 2 is when we became part of the picture. Civilization! And what we did was stage 2, and that was manipulate the environment. We farmed. A piece of corn is actually totally natural, but we took that corn, took the seeds, planted it. More corn. We took that tomato, manipulated the tomato. More tomato. But we are now in step 3. The active manipulation of either crops or delicious chickens. You see, why grow a chicken with feathers and then pluck the feathers and then fry that bad boy? Why not just create the featherless chicken? Active manipulation. Actually messing with the DNA of chickens. Or wait till I show you some of these other pictures here. Other crops. The ear on the back of the mouse is pretty cool. Like, for example, as an example of what I'm talking about, all dogs. Every dog that you have ever owned is a result of manipulation by man.
Right.
3,000 years ago, 4, 5, 6, 8, several thousand years ago, there were no dogs. There were no dogs. And then a pack of wolves was hanging around just beyond the sight of some men who were by a campfire and they were cooking it. And then one of the wolves thought, well, this isn't literally true, but had the instinct to say, instead of us attacking the men and getting slaughtered, I'm going to look cute and I'm going to have puppy eyes and I'm going to lick the man and he's going to give me his chicken. And then that man is going to say, pet. And then we will have offspring. And this is true. What they used to do thousands of years ago was the offspring. They would look at the offspring and kill everyone but the one that had the feature they wanted. All right, here's the ball. Go get the ball. And Fido would go get the ball. And everyone else would be playing, kill, kill. Good dog, Fido. And Fido had little Fidos who had that characteristic. Every dog that is alive today evolved from wolves. Everyone, that little Shih Tzu to the largest St. Bernard. I grew up with St. Bernards, right? Not only was he my dog, he was also my couch. They came from the same evolutionary strand. It's amazing. But they take the characteristic. That's human impact on evolution. Okay. The question that I think will be addressed by the cloning team is there something wrong with this? Have we gone too far? Are we Frankensteining our chickens? So I look forward to hearing. That's real. That is not Napoleon Dynamite's rendition of a liger bred for its skills in magic. This is a real thing. It's a horse/zebra. And they messed with the DNA and they injected a zebra Y chromosome into a horse X egg. And they came up with this thing called the Zorse. Or Hebra. I don't know. This is not a cow or a buffalo. This is a real thing. This is a beefalo. These are real. This is a beefalo. It has more meat in it. And they bred the thing. It's an enormous cow. It's a beefalo. Nice. Yeah. Okay, I've got more. Two summers ago, so I take when my kids about now of their senior year, I sit down with them. So I sat down with Benjamin 2 years ago. I said, all right, Benjamin, you got 3 choices. Do you want a grad party? You'll make a lot of money. Would you rather just take the cash? I have a check here. Here's the check. You want to just take the check? Or you and me go somewhere, wherever you want. Let's go. And he picked Puerto Rico. Awesome. It was lovely. Noah just picked Hawaii. So, okay. That's going to be expensive. Anyway, Benjamin and I saw this. We actually canoed on a lake that has this. This is bioluminescent plankton. It's super cool. These are little plankton that glow in water at night. They are bioluminescent. And you might think, as I thought, like I asked the guide. So here we are in the middle of the night canoeing, and this stuff is everywhere. It's the coolest thing ever, right? You're looking at the night sky in the water, right? It's as starry in the water as it is in the night sky. It's not just the reflection. It's the bioluminescent plankton. Super cool. And I said, but aren't they advertising to the predators where they are? Isn't a whale going to come along and say, food, and I found it, right? Isn't this a light saying, here I am, here I am? And the expert explained to us something kind of fascinating, and that is, yeah, that's true, but when the predator eats this, guess who's now glowing? The predator's glowing for the bigger predator. So they have learned to avoid, the predators of this creature learns to avoid glowing creatures so that they don't get ate later on. Okay? Anyway, they glow at night. Why not take this technology, take this biological truth, and apply it to cats? This is not night vision. These are glowing cats. They took the DNA from glowing plankton and put it into cats. There's no light on right now. That's just a glowing cat. I know, and it's so cute. Okay. Why not take a pig? Do you know that biologically we are almost identical to pig DNA? Human DNA and pig DNA is really, really close. So in these pigs are human livers, human hearts. I'll show you something. And what they do is they grow the liver in the pig, kill the pig, take the liver, transplant it into grandma. Okay. Now again, is there something wrong with this? Maybe you're thinking, no, we just saved grandma's life. But maybe we could have done it another way. Why are you killing a perfectly delicious pig? Pigs are intelligent. Pigs are intelligent. Dogs, did you know that they just did a recent study? They found that dogs are pretty stupid. Yeah. Dogs are pretty dumb. Pigs are very smart. And dogs are pretty dumb. Especially bulldogs. They did an experiment. I love this. So they took a border collie and they put the border collie in front of a mirror, and it sniffed at the mirror and then figured out that it's just a piece of glass. They put the bulldog in front of the mirror, and the bulldog said, "My friend," and played with them and barked at them and kind of snuggled with them. If you get a bulldog when you have to leave for work, just put it in front of the mirror and say, just play with your friend. You'll come back at the end of the day, he'll still be playing with his friend. Okay, let's keep going. This is a cockroach that they've attached a robot to, and they were able to remote control where the cockroach went. Left, right, forward, backward. By hooking it to the correct spots on its brain. By the way, you are looking at technology that the US military is very, very interested in. Because, yeah, you've got radars that can pick up where our tanks and planes are, but do you have radar for cockroaches? God, I think so. Have you ever seen any of those movies where the human brain is in jelly and they poke and prod the brain, just the brain, and that's reality. This is a brain. The brain of this lamprey eel, okay? And what they did was they had the brain and they hooked up wires to it, and the lamprey eel controlled this robot car. Just the brain controlled this robot car. Nice. Okay, all right. Do we look at that and say, cool? Or do we look at that and say, what are we doing? We're playing God here, maybe. That's a human ear that they grow on the back of a mouse.
Why though?
Why? You've been in a terrible accident and your face has been scarred. We can grow you a new ear and surgically attach it. You're perfectly normal.
Does it kill the mouse?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have to kill the mouse. So you're addressing something that is a good question. Is this ethical? You know, we grow the pig. We put a human liver in the pig. We kill the pig. Grandma saved. Is that ethical? You know, Grandma, how many years left you got there, Grandma? You know, what are we buying? Another 3, 4?
It's just a pig.
Okay. Okay, very good. Any questions before we shift gears here? Very good. Just some cool things to think about. Okay, we are on
Oreos.
this one. All right, so for the 3 that we do here, we're going to do this one, and that one. I have 4 questions for you. What would the argument be for side A? What would side A say to win? What would side B say to win? What would you rule if you were the judge and jury? How would you rule? And then what do you think happened? Side A, side B, how would you rule? What do you predict happened? So here we go. A 2003 lawsuit. A person sued Nabisco, which is the company that makes Oreo cookies, because she fed it to her kids and her kids got fat. So she sued Nabisco for emotional damage because my kids are now obese. All right. So what argument would she make? What argument would Nabisco make? How would you rule? What do you think happened? Go ahead and chat with your neighbor, group of 3. I'll give you a minute, and then we'll come back. Something I forgot to mention that might impact it is Oreo has something called trans fats. You know what a trans fat is? It's a bad kind of fat. It does not happen in nature. Trans fats do not happen in nature. They are invented. Your body does not know what to do with trans fats. Does that matter?
They were right there. And I don't think
I think this is right, actually, Will. Is trans fat still a thing? You have to have So you might have just asked a question that impacts you. Okay, are we ready to answer all 4 questions? So pretend you're the lawyer for the family, the mom. What argument might you make to convince a jury to see things your way? Or is this just a slam dunk win for Nabisco? There's absolutely no case at all. Well, Jack asked a really good question, so I want Jack to share it. Go ahead, Jack.
If there's still trans fat.
Do they still exist today? Do trans fats even exist anymore? I know they existed 15 years ago, so you're nodding your head. Are you sure? I actually don't know the answer.
I just looked at a nutrition fact from the other day and had checked it out.
Okay,
Is that
okay, there we go. If they exist, they now have to be labeled as such.
Oh, yeah.
Were they labeled in 2003 as a separate entity? The answer to that is no, they were not. It was simply listed as fat. But between then and now, we now know trans fats are different than fat. Trans fats are a human invention. They invented trans fats because it's delicious, but your body doesn't know what to do with it. And so it just stores it as fat and you get enormous. Okay? That's the argument that the family made. Okay? What about Nabisco? What could they argue? Go ahead.
You should be in better control of what your kid's eating and not only buying them Oreos.
Very good, right? You're the one responsible. Go ahead.
Food label for a reason.
Okay, read the label. Read the nutritional information. That is why it's there. So in 1906, the Pure Food and Drug Act required, just imagine before 1906, right? You'd buy a hot dog, like, I don't know. But after 1906, if you used rat poison to kill the rats and then put that in your hot dog, listing ingredients, rat poison better be on there. And then the consumer picks up the pack of hot dogs and says, this has rat poison. I shall not buy it. What does that do to the company?
It makes them make their products
Change
better.
their ingredients. Exactly. Very good. Go ahead.
You can't necessarily link it right to Oreos either, because that's the only thing you should kids.
Very good. So aren't there other factors? Do you ever get your kids to get up and walk around once in a while? Do they sit down and then do they call you on their cell phone? Can I have a pop? The fridge is over there. All right. Get up yourself. Go ahead.
Don't like other things have like trans fat in them that a kid could be eating? And
Good.
like, why aren't
So-
they suing other companies?
Okay, so you're addressing something Nabisco would say, like, is Oreos the only thing they eat? Don't you have other products that might have impacted it? How are you able to prove that it was the Oreos that did this? Very good. Anyone else? What would you say if you were the decider of this factor? How many of you would side with mom? Remember, one of the things that, I'll say this later. Side with mom? You would side with mom. That's interesting.
But only for the trans fat part.
The trans fat part,
That's
okay.
the label.
How many of you would side with Nabisco? Okay. What do you think happened?
They lost.
When you say they, who are you talking
Yeah,
about?
who's they?
Who is they?
The mom.
The mom lost.
Doesn't say she
All right.
won money.
Yeah, a judge threw it out. Like, no, you cannot sue a cookie maker for making your kid fat. Stop feeding them cookies. There's an idea. Have an apple. Okay. Very good. 2 more. Okay, same 4 questions here. I'll just read it and then go ahead and discuss. What would he say? What would they say? What would be the ruling? If you were the jury, what do you think happened? A burglar dies. Remember, a burglar is someone who breaks in. Burglar dies when he breaks into a bar, and the bar is set with traps. What I can tell you exactly what happened was that the owner of the bar had shards of glass from broken bottles, so that when he breaks in and gets in, he falls on the shards of glass and bleeds to death. Okay, so he dies. The parents of the person that broke in sue the bar, like, killing my son. You killed my son. There it is. Okay, go ahead and discuss. What is their point? What is the owner of the bar's point? What would you say? What do you think happened? Go. This one's a little harder, isn't it? This one's a little bit trickier.
I don't know.
Maybe. Any more time? I'll give you a similar scenario. It happened in northern Minnesota probably about 6-7 years ago. Teenager, this is true story. Sick of these teenagers breaking into his house and drinking and partying in his house. So one night he goes to the basement after setting up the stairs to his basement so that whoever walked down the stairs would trip. Right? He had a rope right there hidden from view so that whoever walked down the stairs would trip. So in comes this guy and this girl. They're laughing, they're partying, whatever. She goes down the stairs, trips. He then takes his shotgun, puts her right here, and shoots and kills her. The guy hears the gunfire. He comes down and he shoots and kills him. And his argument was similar to the argument that the bar owner used, I have a feeling. Okay? So just kind of let that sink in. Like, the question here is, do you have unlimited right to defend your property?
Wait.
And you, I mean, he was sitting at the bottom of the stairs. She was approaching. He could argue self-defense, maybe? Okay, thoughts?
Wait, so
Go
the
ahead.
owner of the house killed the girl and the guy?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what might the owner of the bar say?
Protecting his property.
What?
Protecting his property.
Okay, very good. Protecting his property. Have you ever heard of something called the Castle Doctrine? Has anyone ever heard of the Castle Doctrine?
No.
What?
Castle Doctrine exists in some states. Florida is one of them. The name Trayvon Martin, does that mean anything to anybody?
Yes.
Trayvon Martin? The justification for what happened to Trayvon Martin was the Castle Doctrine. The Castle Doctrine goes like this. My house is me. That house is me. So I have the right to defend me. So when you broke into that house, you were attacking me. I have the right to use self-defense, including lethal force. That's what they argue, the Castle Doctrine. Okay? What do you suppose the parents of the burglar argued?
That's like a health hazard. Like, though, you can't be setting traps in a bar that is open to the public.
It wasn't open to the public.
Oh, wasn't?
No.
This was at night. It was closed.
Oh, well.
In the morning, he cleaned everything up.
Oh, okay. Well, still, like, if you're setting traps, were they meant to be lethal? If they're meant to be lethal, you can't just be killing somebody just because they broke in. Like, the ethics, I guess, of it are weird.
It's meant to be lethal. So you are approaching a military base and there's electric wire at the top and you climb over it because you're an idiot and you are shocked and fried and you die. Was it meant to be lethal? Uh-huh. It sure was. Does that matter? Go ahead.
You shouldn't be robbing my bar. It's his fault.
No. We're talking about the parents now.
Oh, the parents.
The parents' point of view.
Oh, I think it's.
We've addressed that side.
Why did you murder my son for just breaking into your,
Murder?
like, murder my son?
Murder.
Yeah.
Murder.
Yeah.
Murder.
Why did you kill my son?
Kill. Okay. Murder's something else. Murder is you lay out a piece of parchment. Here's how I'm going to get Ethan. First you'll walk through, you draw it all out. And then, perfect! That's murder.
Why did you kill my son for breaking?
This would be manslaughter. Okay,
Why did you kill my son for breaking into your bar? Now, the
I
law,
think you just answered your own question.
the law is equal and like equal punishment for the crime.
Okay, so it doesn't seem like the punishment fits the crime, right? Were they sleeping in the bar? No, it was empty. Right? What would they have done? I don't know, stolen some money, stolen some booze. You killed him.
If you're setting traps, they must have known he was coming. So if they were setting these traps,
True in that northern Minnesota case, that guy knew he was coming. They were coming. I don't think the owner of the bar knew anyone was coming. It's just that was his defense mechanism. If you break in, this is what's going to happen to you. But I do think you're bringing up a pretty good point. It was sort of a premeditated thing in the northern Minnesota case. By the way, if you want to know what happened to that guy, he's rotting in prison right now. The guy that took a gun and put it right here and shot the guy and the girl. This is like, no, this is not self-defense. But
Was the glass like always gonna kill him, or did he like fall on it?
I don't know. It must have been a kind of an amazing.
Because it maybe wouldn't have killed him if he didn't fall.
Yeah, it would have hurt. Yeah, like what'd you do? Like jump head first? Like perfect. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Like, also just thinking about it, you said it was like broken bottles from glass. Okay, or broken glass from bottles.
I did.
Okay, well, he didn't like
What you doing,
break
sir? What you need to
60 like bottles or something and leave it under a windowsill. Like, it had to be like, I don't know, just a couple of empty bottles. But like, when you think about that, there's not that much glass that makes up a bottle. Like, I'm just confused.
Yeah, I don't know the quantity. I don't.
It's just weird because like Hannah said earlier, like if you landed on your feet, if you're wearing shoes, it wouldn't be that big of a problem.
Yeah, was he barefoot?
Yeah.
Wear some shoes.
Was he wearing clothes?
I know. Okay, go ahead.
The issue is like, it's not a necessarily lethal trap, is it? Except in this case.
Well, it certainly was.
But it seems like it wasn't meant.
Didn't seem to be intended to be lethal.
Seems like it'd be different if it was like, poison darts attached to some.
Poison
water or
darts, right?
something. Yeah.
Exactly. We're in Africa now.
It'd be a lot. It seems like,
Okay.
yeah,
It seems like a, I don't know, weird but a reasonable defense mechanism.
it's a jammy booby trap.
Okay. How many of you would side with the parents? Would side with the parents? Shocked.
I would just do 50-50 fault.
Which is real. The juries can do that. They can find that the bar was half responsible. Okay. You'll notice, by the way, the amount isn't really all that much compared to like this. It's 150,000, right? How many of you would side with the bar? You would side with the bar? Jeez, we've got some hardcore people. Okay. Exactly what Will said happened. They awarded the parents $75,000. That's pretty insane. Okay. My favorite one, and then we'll move on. All right, a guy sues Budweiser because he saw the commercials. He went to buy the beer. He cracks it open. He drinks. He looks around. No girls. Where are the girls? Sues Budweiser. False advertising.
I think he lost that one because they still do that. Beer commercials, so,
As a matter of fact, he sued him because not only were there no girls, but he got headaches. They're called hangovers. Okay. Is this one of these? It's so ridiculous. Why are we even? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The judge. You're wasting my time. Okay. I'm done. We should have a cart in here. It's either in Krybeck's room or Kramer's room. Would you? Are you on good terms with those two? Are you on good terms with them? Ethan, are you volunteering?
I was doing this way without.
Okay. Will you retrieve the cart? What's in your world right now is that there is an article summary due today. You can now go ahead and do your second article summary. Read the second article for the same side, and then do the same thing. It's posted on Classroom. Tuesday is the beginning of our presentations. And remember, this time, we're not waiting for you. If I call on you, you're up. If you're not ready, we're having the conversation without you. And then you'll have to figure out how to make that up And if you are ready and you do go, you get super points. You're rewarded grade-wise.
Oil prices are falling.
That's good to know. Thank you, Will. Okay. Also, there's a Kia. That's not due till next Thursday, so that's a thing.
The NASDAQ is up 1.4%.
And in fact, there are 2 Kias. I forgot there were 2 Kias. Thank you, Ethan. Okay. The rest of the hour is all yours. You want to come chat with me? Get this straightened up. No, maybe I should add it.
Mr. Potter, I don't understand mine.
Which was it?
Mobilization.
Did you find it on search?
Oh,
Oh, you should.
Let me talk with him.
No, do you have yours? The oil fields in Oklahoma?
No, we can't. I don't like sure.
So we're gonna do that last year. What? We're gonna do that last year. They're not, they're all from like 40 parts of Central America. I don't know what you want. They could, but it's like a question of like, what are you gonna do with them when they get here? There's like 40,000 of them.
Who was just chatting with me?
Mr. Potter.
Who was just up here?
Me.
Who was just up here talking to me about something?
Me, I think.
What was your topic again?
Globalization.
Just had to show back.
Let's find it.
No,
So did
no,
you
stop, stop.
find it? Mobilization.
Get out. I can't, it's against my religion. Stop, that's illegal.
So what's your question again?
Really not.
We're in the middle of my proposal.
It looks like that.
Oh, should I? Stop. Stop, it's illegal.
Does globalization help local economies and local businesses? That's the topic. Is this your direct one or your presentation? Oh, this is presentation. So, and you're arguing which side?
That's not the issue.
So, does globalization help local economies and businesses? You would argue.
He's waiting for.
So here are the arguments. Here are
I was gonna do it because I'd rather
globalization.
That was so gross last time.
It's like an all.
Allowing
Want to drop
for businesses.
Yeah.
And
gas
now,
station.
so that for globalization is when businesses move to other countries because the labor is cheaper. That's the way you gotta sell it.
When a doctor
You're gonna basically it's what Trump thinks.
So am I arguing that? I got no.
Oh, you're arguing is globalization harmful. You're saying no, as in it is not harmful. Yeah, so you're gonna look at this side. That is. So you'll do what I just said.
Okay, opposite.
You got banned.
No, I used Kayla and would you hear that?
Right before they did it, you were
Or did you? On a piece of paper, yeah. I'll get it, read it, and give it right back to you.
Say that. See, it's hard. You can forward. You have to stay right where you are.
Like, should it be? Should we look at
Just going when I'm already back here.
Synthesis is when you go to another, you feel like, or say, this is just like that.
Yeah.
So that's like what you said, but they're like, it's the same.
Yeah, it has the same argument.
Let's go back in time and talk about school systems. 500 years.
Say if they resisted the change, like,
Like, don't beat your kids.
yeah, public education.
Whatever. Is it illegal?
So you're saying this is article
Sometimes.
number 2? No, it's article
I
number
think it's
1.
legal in
What's your
some
first
states.
article?
I'm gonna look, you look up if assisted suicide currently legal, I'm gonna look up if euthanasia is currently legal.
Do you care if I submit my thing from article number 1 thing and then?
Yeah, euthanasia is legal in most United States.
Well, I haven't checked it.
Oh, I turned it in, it's good.
Yeah, I will check it. I will return it to you.
Do you want me to just tell you where it's, where yours is legal?
Yeah.
Nope. Is it done?
It really is.
I don't like it.
In DC, California, Colorado, Oregon, Vermont, Hawaii, Washington, and it's statutes disputes.
Yeah, this one says like 142.
Oh, no. Should we just focus on where
Let me
it's
just-
legal?
Okay, listen, everybody. She's about the 8th person to come up and say, what's synthesis? Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example of synthesis, and I think we'll all understand. Right, so I'm going to talk about, hey, is Trump a good president? And then I'm gonna say, some people think he's not a good president because he likes to make executive decisions without congressional approval. He just makes these decisions. That makes him a tyrant. Synthesis, Hitler. Synthesis is when you go to another example that makes the same argument, and then you say, that is just like this. So for example, gun control. Should we have gun control? And an argument that I've heard that goes something like this. Gun control laws are pointless because if you pass a new gun control law, the only people that obey it are law-abiding citizens. You just took guns out of the hands of the people that should have them, and the criminals are the ones that ignore those laws. And so all you've done, if you enact gun control, is you've taken guns out of the hands that you want the guns in. Okay, synthesis, speed limits. That's like saying we shouldn't have speed limits. Because if we enact a speed limit, the only people that will obey speed limits are law-abiding citizens. Criminals will still speed. And that is stupid. That's a stupid argument. You have to have the law so that you can arrest the lawbreakers. You see what I did there? I made you think, gee, maybe we should have gun control because of my synthesis argument. It doesn't make sense to not have speed limits because of the argument that if you don't have speed limits, then people will speed and people will die. Take that argument and apply it to gun control. That's what synthesis is, okay? It's when you go to another situation that has similar arguments and you apply it to this, okay? Now you only have to do it once total in your entire paper. So this time, if you're struggling with synthesis, skip it. You can do it for the next article, or the next article, or the next article. Use 4. Right? You only have to do it once. So if you're struggling right now, don't do it. Just write skipped. Okay? Just relax. You'll all succeed, I promise.
Put it away. Oh, man. I hate that picture. What the heck? Ow! What?
No possibility for being.
Recall.
So like, they're the ones.
No, hang on, let's make them into one side because this is literally what I'm writing on this slide. And then I'll list them when they're
I'm gonna show you what it looks like.
What? Yeah, I'm doing a little bit.
I just want to know. Yeah,
Look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it. No,
What?
it's legal in Sweden.
I don't care.
Controversial. I hated that you said Saul.
Controversial.
Can we just show
I don't, I
You're checking it, I can see them. I can see them. Didn't see that, I just saw them tapping. So if I call this little stuff. You're so weak. I'm not trying to hurt you.
For a second, I said father.
Aaron.
I don't want to hurt
You
you.
said that right, but-
Sorry.
No, I think you're right.
Touch your wrist. I just want to hurt you.
Yeah, no.
No.
I think there's two errors.
I can try and maybe find another one.
You're right. Aaron Osorio is in the NBA.
No. No, you don't.
Yeah.
By
Hey,
the way,
not too many favorites.
Okay, we're not. We're just gonna tell which one.
Peter's toilets.
I don't think you should.
Who you're doing. Who are you?
I think we have four right now. We're doing Giannis, Kyrie.
Oh, this is
Porzingis, and
illegal in most.
Australia.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, but I don't know which ones are
And then Curry for
not
the US. So
in the most.
What's his name again?
Answer the call. Don't delay.
There's not a video for Giannis. Like, literally.
No.
that explains like everything.
Oh, really?
It's only a
There was some guy from
They're like acting bananas.
he was part of the Argentinian team that beat the US.
Ambiguous.
And a playing
We're in an ambiguous.
Argentinian basketball is pretty good because of that team. That's what
Get
happens,
out, get out.
is that
No, you're good.
you're kidding.
No, wait. No, he didn't. No, he played in Europe.
Yeah, I will.
No.
No.
Still go back for his match.
No. I'm just gonna keep looking at them.
Yeah.
Block.
I think he was some type of player.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, he was.
Played in Europe.
Exactly what you just did.
In the G League.
Did I hit every single thing?
Yes. The G League because he had
Did I do it
responsibility.
again? No.
No, I gotta remember that now.
Will you give it a good yup?
I don't know, they were good when he was
They
there.
beat Jason Kidd, who's the used to coach the Bucks. They beat that team. It was awesome. Because they were so cocky. So cocky.
Can we do it? Why do you put this right in front of what I'm writing? Because I did.
Crazy.
Trying to find.
I think he played in Austria, Netherlands, and he did that for 4 years.
So do those countries have teams that play each other? Or is it
How
just
do I
the
find out
big
if
league?
it is
I think
legal?
it's like within each other.
Feel
Those
like
countries aren't that big, so you know, they don't really have that many teams.
And think about this, like this is Charlie Carter.
I'll make it so small.
Okay, now this is saying that
Well,
it's illegal, but assisted
That's
suicide is
one of the reasons why they're
law, active
Minnesota
euthanasia.
ended up going for this, being part of this lottery. What they do is they tax just a little bit of it.
Is there a combo between each?
I think they're Chili Casino is like the richest Minnesota ones. But, I mean.
You're
how
probably
do they run the
saying,
thing? So is it like the-
you're probably saying of the Native American.
Yeah, Native
No.
American ones.
Passive euthanasia is with death
Wisconsin's
brought
like
on
more-
by and if it's someone left. Active euthanasia
Yeah.
is brought on by.
They're all in the north.
Wisconsin are in the middle.
Giving someone.
They're very sort of like,
Like the one, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're spread out a little bit more.
Is euthanasia.
Should I put that in class?
No. Murderer, yeah.
For
Is there like a, is there an interior district? Drugs.
Okay, so.
Well, there's some other vice that's
So like.
recreational marijuana.
It's not
Is a perfect,
like.
that's a vice. Prostitution's legal in that.
And flip them off, then I die.
It's like it's a vice. So find another vice
Or not.
that's legal, find an argument for why it's legal, and say, well, this is illegal. Right? Who am I? Think about prostitution. Who am I to tell you what you can or can't do with your body?
Stop. It's really not.
Why is it like, person likes this?
Yes, I do.
You could say, just like, no, I can't.
You not understand. I just did. Stop being upset. Upset.
So good.
This makes me wonder. Well, it would say.
Have it all over the tree at the top, and if I need to, there's a split stick.
Yeah, for the,
And it's water, it's gonna be 4 minutes of water, puts it in the whole tree, it's covered in water.
That's why you have to share it around. Use a syringe, throw it away.
It's not like you can make more.
Well, either way,
I don't have
but
more.
I think it's more about the argument. Is there another situation that's making a similar argument?
So there is this property tree,
it looks
it's
like
not
it
around,
does.
so it's not around that, and there's air cool that wraps on the steel.
This can be our.
There's no level. It's not like staircase like in the tree, you know, like walk in the tree. And like-
And as we inch toward the end of class, it's 10:28, so you still have 2 minutes, but several of you have come up to me and say, hey, what about this? I'm happy to help you. I mean, that's kind of our job, right? I always hated those teachers who would say basically figure it out. It's not my style. I'm happy to help you. Sit down with me and we'll figure it out. I promise, we'll figure it out. Okay. Isn't it lovely out? Do you or are you being sarcastic?
Oh, I really love it.
I don't know why our kids are so.
Are you a skier?
No, snowmobile.
Yeah, they are.
A little bit of ice
I don't
fishing.
do anything. Like all the kids out of however many. When I'm mine, I'm like,
And always that first time people forget how you drive. So scrimmage tomorrow, that'll be fun. Good teams though, or at least big teams, but that's good.
Is the lunch calendar thing online? I never know it's for lunch until I get that.
I'd be surprised if there isn't something available, like some sort of online.
There is one.
She said there's one.
On the school website somewhere.
So all this time I've been saying Schroeder, and you've never corrected me.
I have.
She corrects you every time.
Oh.
Oh, yes, it is.
10:30.
No.
Is it 10:30?
Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. See you Tuesday.
Mine is actually supposed to have one. Where would you add it? You want your name to be?
Or for their
Yes.
You have to return the motherboard with that plastic thing.
So do you ever see him? Will you see him Thanksgiving or anything? Does he have a family? Is he married? Does he have kids?
Yeah, he's married. He has one kid himself. And I think they just fostering one.
Or maybe tomorrow.
So I assume he lives in Milwaukee.
Yeah. It's been probably a year since. Want to get down there again.
Is he our scoring leader?
He was toward Martel broke it. I think Mike's around.
If I remember right,
I looked-
Somerset had some good teams back in that time.
Whoa.
Never made it to state.
No,
Close.
I think farthest is sectionals.
We made it to the sectional final when Galen was a senior. We lost to,
Yeah,
that was a good team too. What was the point guard's name?
Jack.
Jack.
Emmer.
Yeah.
I think I was when Heaven was playing, and
Never sure.
I think that's.
Oh my God, I forgot to end
Danny
this.
graduated before them, I think. I mean, he played